Guys, what's going on? Wanted to do a video for you today on the Lightning. I've had the truck for about 3 months, put a little over 9,000 miles on it. Just kind of wanted to share with you some things that I love about this truck. It's been mostly great so far. There are a few things maybe that I would change about it. I'm going to do a separate video for that later on, but let's talk about the 5 things I love about the Lightning. Not one of my 5 things necessarily, but I do like the way the truck looks. I think it's got a good look to it. I'm a fan of the light bar in the front that goes across. It's styled like a regular F-150. There's just a few distinct differences. So like compared to something like a Cybertruck, it's not reinventing the wheel, so to speak. It's not as polarizing as some of these electric vehicles can be. But that's not one of the things I was going to talk about. So that's bonus. All right, so first thing I wanted to share with you, and I apologize, it's a little windy out here today. But one of the things that I love about this truck is the power. This truck is the extended range Lariat. This is a 2023 Lightning. I believe that it's somewhere around like 580 horsepower, 725 pound-feet of torque. That's a lot. 0 to 60 time is like 3.8 seconds for the extended range battery. I think it's a little slower for the standard range. But there's not many vehicles, much less trucks, that you're going to pull up to at a stoplight and somebody's going to be able to outrun you in this. As far as power delivery, it's quick, it's smooth, and it's quiet. That's one of the coolest things. You floor it, the truck goes, but there's not a lot of engine noise, there's not a lot of downshifting, and that's extremely helpful when you talk about towing. So I just love the power delivery of the truck. I have a Cybertruck on order, as I probably shared in other videos, but I will say I was a little disappointed. The one that I would actually get, I wouldn't get the Cyber Beast for a couple of reasons, mainly the cost, but the all-wheel drive dual motor version was what I was looking at, and it came out to be slower, 0 to 60 than the Lightning. So I was a little disappointed that the power wasn't quite on par with the Lightning. So first thing I really like about this truck is the power. Second thing is also about power, but not about speed or horsepower or anything like that. It's Pro Power. And so I did not talk about this much in my first video. Truck bed's a little bit of a mess, but this truck does have Pro Power, which, as you can see over here, there's several outlets. Now there's a couple of 120 volt 20 amp outlets here, and then there's also a 30 amp outlet for 240 volts. So this will run 7,200 watts off of this whole thing right here. And so that is very handy. We use this truck for a lot of family trips, and so one of the things we always like to take is a refrigerator. So we'll put it back here, have it plugged in, but you've got 2 plugs there, 2 plugs there, and then if you need to use this for something, you can. You can run, you can put it, this actually came with an adapter for a 1450 plug. So it plugs into here on the male end, and then on the adapter piece you have a 1450, which is actually like a camper style plug. Some of your level 2 chargers also run on the same plug, but you could plug a camper in to this if you wanted to. I can put the refrigerator in here with like chicken strips, whatever we want to put in here. I'll usually have a toaster oven in here, so when we go and stop somewhere, specifically maybe at a charging station, you can cook lunch right here on the tailgate. You've got all the power. We've been at state parks before and kids are playing and all that. It's kind of maybe a more rural area where there's not anything to eat. You just bring your own food. You can hook any appliance you want up out here. Coffee makers, had a coffee maker in the front before. So it's just a very useful thing. Having that power to do, you can plug in tools, you can charge batteries for power tools. Whatever you normally need power for, you have probably that much power available to you in this truck. So the third thing, kind of going along with number 2 and Pro Power, is that Pro Power is also available in the front, which is my third favorite thing. I was a little unsure what this was going to look like up here, so I'm glad it's not too bad. So up here also you've got several plugs. You've got 4 regular household outlets, a USB-C and a USB-A, so you can leave stuff plugged in here if you've got camera gear, computers, regular 110 stuff. Like I said, I've run a coffee maker up here before. It's just very, very useful stuff. So the front, to me, is one of the main selling points. you have, you know, just tons of storage up here. It says there's a 400-pound weight limit here. You got some neat things like little rulers. I don't necessarily know what these geometric designs are. I mean, you know, I guess you could say that's a cup holder, but not really. But anyway, this comes up as well, and I've got tons of stuff in here. I've got toilet paper, a chair, an axe, a first aid kit, gloves, coat, saw, lots of extension cords, because with all that power, it doesn't do you any good if you can't use it. So I've got several extension cords, a surge protector, and I think I even have the adapter somewhere down here that yeah, here it is. This is the adapter that comes in the back. So this plugs in to the back receptacle and gives you that 1450 plug. Oh, also got a shovel. There is a drain down here, so you can use this as a cooler if you wanted to. Probably not going to do that because of all the other stuff I have here. But it's got some different options here for you to mount this cover here. You can put it like that if you want to make it a divider for some reason. But there's lots of stuff that actually goes down under here. They kind of freeze this space up here. So this is just a super useful thing. I keep this little bag back here. Got a rain jacket, some paper towels, some straps and stuff in there. Trader Joe's sack for whatever reason. My wife put that in here. But you got tie down points in here. So you've got 4 of them, so you can strap stuff down. It's like grocery sack hangers all over the place. Just a very useful tool. I didn't know how much I would use this until I got it, and we use this pretty much for anything. If we go get groceries, they all go up here. Luggage, things like that. This is secure, this is lockable, this is waterproof. You know, you can put a bed cover on a truck, but it's not really always going to be waterproof. It's got some little stuff in here, like there's a golf club symbol there, like you should fit, I guess, be able to fit 2 bags of golf clubs in here. But it's just a very useful thing. All right, so let's talk about my next favorite thing, which is the capability of this vehicle. Now this is a truck, and it is capable like a truck is, even though it's an electric vehicle. So first thing I want to show you, if you have an F-150 or you have a half-ton truck period, payload on these trucks is usually not very high. So I want to share the payload with you on this truck. So payload here is 1,806 pounds. That's a lot of payload for a half-ton truck. Honestly, I drove a friend's F-250 just the other day. He had an F-250 King Ranch. Payload on it was 2,000 pounds. Now, 2 different trucks, 2 different engines, 2 different use cases, but legality-wise, payload was only about 200 pounds different. So this is a lot of payload for a truck this size. I've seen some, well, let me show you. I just happen to have a GMC Sierra sitting in the driveway that may or may not have the door unlocked. Yeah, so let's see what the payload is here. Payload here is 1,528. Now this is a pretty loaded out truck, sunroof, leather, all that stuff. It's a SLT, but about 280, almost 300 pounds, the payload difference. I tow about a 5,000 pound boat. I've got a 6-inch drop hitch here. You have a Lightning and you wonder what the best option for a drop hitch is. I did all the measurements. For me, the 6-inch drop works the best. It keeps the trailer level, whether I'm towing a utility trailer, whether I'm towing a boat. That's just a great amount of drop. But I tow a 5,000 pound boat with this. It does it effortlessly. Like, you can set the cruise, it goes up hills, it doesn't downshift, it doesn't make noise. It does cut into the range, so that's going to be one of my things probably I talk about in the dislikes section in the next video. But as far as capability, this truck tows amazing. Honestly, you guys know I came from a 350 trimmer before this, and I've had, you know, 1-ton dualies and the Rams. As far as towing experience, this truck seems to have more power and quicker acceleration, obviously, towing than any of those other trucks. Now, obviously, again, different use cases, different types of trucks. This isn't made to tow a 15,000 pound fifth wheel, so you know you kind of got to take that into account. But for what you're going to be towing with a truck like this, like boats, things like that, smaller campers, it does incredible. You're never going to say, oh, I wish I had more power. Oh, I wish the ride was smoother. It's never going to happen. What you will say is, I wish I had more range. And so that is a consideration. All right, so last thing, guys, I wanted to share with you was the cost. This is a like. Now, that may surprise some of you, especially if you're a Lightning owner who bought a truck in 2022, if they were available to you, or 2023. I feel at this price point, what you get for the money is a good value. And so let me explain for those of you who are rolling your eyes already. Probably 2022, 2023, kind of when you were in the height of the vehicle craze. No matter what vehicle you had, used vehicle, it was worth maybe more than you paid for it, even if it was already a couple years old. EVs, you could order a Tesla back then and you had to wait 3 or 4 months for it to come in. When you got it, you could sell it for more than you paid for it. I ordered an F-150 trimmer during that time. It took almost 9 months to get that built. But by the time it arrived, I already had equity in the truck. Fast forward, and now here we are, 2024. I bought this truck, and MSRP on this truck was $80,000, right at it. It was $79,000 and some change. 2022, if you were to buy this truck, I've seen dealers that had $30,000 to $50,000 add-on markups on these, putting some of these at 130, 125,000, stuff like that. That's just ridiculous. Now, if you bought one during that time, you know what? Hey, you got it when you wanted it. I hope you love it, because you know you're never going to be able to sell it. But times are changing, and so now this truck, if you look at the features, this truck has a sunroof, leather, heated rear seats. If you don't even take into account things like the power, like the engine power, motor power rather, the Pro Power, just all the cool things that come with an electric vehicle, and you just look at the options that are on this truck. This truck has Blue Cruise. It has this super huge screen here that, to my knowledge, I don't think you can get in a normal F-150. Has the Pro Trailer backup, which incidentally I've never used. But brake controllers. It has the optional work surface here where this folds down and you can, you know, work or eat, or what I do with it is my kids sit here so they can play the games on the screen. But if you just look at all the features that this truck has and compare that with a similar gas vehicle like a Lariat, like the price point that I got this truck at, to me, I've seen Lariats with these type of options that are higher than that, they're more expensive than that. So now, of course, that's factoring in like all the rebates, all the tax credits, stuff like that. That's not going to apply to everybody. So keep that in mind. But for what I got this truck for, it was what I consider a good deal. There's no truck at this price point that is going to have all the features this has. Is going to have the power, the speed, and the room that this truck has. The frunk is class leading. Nobody makes a bigger frunk than this, to my knowledge. I don't know about the Silverado EV. I haven't seen it yet, so it may be bigger. I know it has a bigger battery pack. I'm not exactly sure what the power is, but there's tons of YouTube videos you can watch it, but you can't find them, and if you can, they're $100,000 for what I'm talking about. So again, at this price point, you know, this is an incredible value. I'm going to do another video separate from this, as far as exactly what I paid for it, all the rebates and things like that I got on it. But to me, it just seems like a good value. It really does. And you know, what is it going to be like 4 years from now? It may be zero. I don't know. They could be worthless in 5 years. It's hard to say. This could be one of those trucks that you have to buy and keep forever, because there's not going to be a used market for it, because nobody knows in 10 years what this truck's going to look like, because there's not one that's 10 years old. So, you know, when you're an early adopter of technology and things like this, there's certain things and certain risks that you have to be willing to incur, and that's just one of them. But for now, for me, this truck has been a good value. It's very comfortable. My whole family gets in this truck. We take trips on it. And again, I'm going to have a few things in another video that I don't like about it, but overall, it's just been a very impressive truck. So stay tuned. More stuff on the Lightning to come, guys.